from California, Ms. Napolitano.
Mr. Chairman, and I'm glad to hear some of the testimony I've heard from the witnesses. Mr. Rowe, thank you very much for your foundation to help be able to move forward in helping youngsters. I co-chair the Congressional Youth Challenge Program, and I would like to give you a packet on that will tell you about some of the programs. To each one of you, I'll give you one. These are youngsters that are at risk. They're the kids who drop out of school, the ones that are falling through the cracks. And one of the things that we need to do is help these youngsters be able to assimilate into the different areas where they know that they'll be successful because they've been given the tools to be successful. Mr. Rowe, I'm working on a seminar, manufacturing export seminar, coming up in October. I'd love to talk to you about it. But in talking about the energy, we need to use simpler language for kids. You tell them energy, huh?
Yeah.
You need to be able to simplify so that they understand it. And, you know, we've become a gimme society. Gimme, gimme, gimme. And we've not taught our children that hard work does pay off. And to Mr. McGarvey, I work with IBEW and with solar energy, then the greening of businesses, partly because that does create jobs, and that is a help to a lot of the youngsters who may not have track to go into university or college. Ms. Martinez, have we talked to the schools? Schools no longer have shops, so there's really no focus on being able to do something else other than go to work at a hamburger joint, which I don't mean belittle, but it's something we've shied away from. We've got schools that are already forming academies to track youngsters into medical, into law enforcement, to military and CNC operations. Somehow we need to be able to maintain a liaison with schools to be able to tell them what we need to teach our youngsters to be successful in attaining jobs and keeping them. Part of it is being able to show up for work and go take how would I say, orders in being able to carry out your job direction. I'm hoping to be able to work on getting manufacturing back to the U.S. That's a critical issue, the Buy America issue. And I'm glad to hear from both of you that you have an interest in helping manufacturing jobs. But Mr. Fleur or Mr. Rowe, the importance of today's focus on Made in America, how would we ensure our companies are using products made in America and keeping the jobs, and how would it affect our economy?
Well, I guess my main focus is a business owner, and from North Dakota, you've talked about a lot of different things about North Dakota, is getting the people to work the jobs that Mr. Rowe has talked about, and NECA and the IBEW provide a lot of that stuff by providing an apprenticeship program that's second to none. I went through it, my partners have gone through it, and I think that builds on everything else that comes up in the United States, is once we have the people trained to do these jobs and do the things that we need, we can manufacture and do all the things in the United States.
But don't we need the schools to teach our youngsters math?
We do need to have the schools teach, but we also need to understand that when I used to be the training director for the local JATC in North Dakota, and I'd go to high schools, and I'd go to community colleges, and I'd talk to the kids, and it's important that they learn math, but our apprenticeship programs can teach that math. We have that ability, and we have the ability to teach these kids how to be responsible, and we take them from a first step to a 10th step apprentice, and we get them trained, and it doesn't cost the taxpayer a dime. It's our employers and our employees that contribute to that.
Thank you. Mr. Rowe?
You have to engage the consumer as well. Talking about Made in America is really tempting to focus just on the people who are making the thing, and maybe the people who are hiring the people who are making the thing. But the people who are buying the thing that's being made, you need to engage them directly, because there's a lot of what the marketers call, brand dissonance right now. look, we want the very best quality we can possibly get, and we want to pay as little as possible for that. And obviously, it's just creating an almost comical tension, and it plays out in so many different ways. But in the end, the consumer needs to be engaged because ultimately, the consumer is calling the shots, much the way the voters do, right? I mean, it's the same word for the same basic thing.
But how do we change that? How do
Put
we?
it, I think you start by putting it in front of them. Look, there's talk about Walmart in the same breath as you talk about Target. I've been through this many times, and people feel very, very passionately, in part because of labor issues, also in part because of outsourcing. But you can't have that conversation in a vacuum. You have to talk to the people who are shopping in these places and hear from them and talk to them. Because in the end, if they're not a part of it, I just don't know how anything will ever change.
Thank you so very much, and I totally agree with you. The problem is it's so much cheaper that it is one of the, given our economy, that's the only way they can go. Thank you, sir.
All right.